Wednesday, February 22nd, 2017 is now in session. Let the record reflect that there was no executive meeting held, therefore no need for certification. With that, we will have our Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I would address your attention to the minutes supplied for the date of Wednesday, February 8th, 2017, and entertain a motion for approval of minutes.
I make a motion we approve the minutes for Wednesday, February 8th, 2017.
I second it.
Roll call.
Commissioner Tommy Williams?
Yes.
Commissioner Renee Patterson?
Yes.
Reverend Dwight Gardner?
Yes. That takes us to ratification of payroll and claims. Madam Superintendent, is there anything that you need to point out to us?
No, everything is
Standard?
standard and above board.
Then on payroll, I will receive a motion that we would accept and approve payroll as presented.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call?
Commissioner Tommy Williams?
Yes.
Commissioner Renee Patterson?
Yes.
President Dwight Gardner?
Yes. That takes us to claims.
Approval of the minutes. President, approval of the minutes.
We did
Oh,
the
you did the
minutes.
minutes? Oh, okay, sorry. I think it's springtime for me.
We're actually on claims.
I'm up to date now, thank you.
Are there any questions from board members on claims?
I just have one question, and this may be something that should be brought up later, but what is the status of the work that's going to be done on Hudson Campbell?
Let's hold
Let's
that.
hold it. Okay, that's fine. So no, other than that, that's it.
Then I'll entertain a motion that we would approve the claims as presented.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Roll call?
Commissioner Tommy Williams?
Yes.
Commissioner Renee Patterson?
Yes.
President Dwight Gardner?
Yes. Takes us to bids, proposals, quotes, and contracts.
As you know, we are in the process of ushering in a new council. We will probably be able to do that after the March 8th date, which is the date of termination of the present council. So we cannot really move on any contracts right now. However, we would like to move on the security gates for the Lake Street location.
Okay,
You have quotes in your packet.
okay.
The park safety manager, Officer Lilly, suggested the second quote above all overhead door.
Overhead door.
Overhead door. Mhm.
And his explanation for that is that it would be automatic, so it has an extra layer of security.
Okay.
Because since we've been compromised in that way, I fully support the recommendation of our park safety manager and would hope that you all would do the same so that we can move on this.
So you're making a recommendation as who is being the person to take the, what company?
Overhead door.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
All right. What's the cost on that?
It's $2,073.
How does that compare with the other bids?
No,
No.
that's not correct. The cost is $2,750. It is,
No, that's not the one we're recommending. We're recommending the second one, above all.
Above all.
Is the, yes.
Okay,
Okay.
above
So
all
it's
overhead.
so it's not overhead door,
Yeah.
No,
it's
no.
above all.
Above all overhead
Gotcha.
door,
Okay.
right?
So I see it's in the middle.
It's in the
Pretty
middle. Mhm,
Okay.
It's the second quote.
Okay.
What is the, do they give you any kind of a warranty or?
Yes,
as
they
far
do.
as service is concerned?
Yes, they do. And we'll have that. Officer Lilly talked with the representative, and he's working closely with them to make sure that we get all that we can possibly have that's gonna be advantageous to the department.
Okay.
Is this a steel door? Is this a fiberglass door?
No, it's a steel door, but it's automatic,
Okay.
so it still has that extra layer of security to it. And as far as since the park manager's not able to be here, I can also give a short report as to the timeline to move into the old Naval Reserve building. We have successfully solidified a partnership with the persons who are occupying that, and so it will become a part of our pavilion maintenance schedule, and it would also be home to the aquatics programming.
Excellent. Any other questions on the proposal for the replacement of the overhead doors?
I have no problems with it.
Then I will entertain a motion that we would approve the work of the installation of the overhead doors by Above All Overhead Door Incorporated in the amount of $2,073.
So, second?
Roll call?
Commissioner Tommy Williams.
Yes.
Commissioner Renee Patterson.
Yes.
President Dwight Gardner.
Yes.
Good job.
Thank you, good job, Officer Lilly.
Are there any other proposals at this time?
None that I can move on without counsel.
Okay. Then that takes us to our administrative reports.
Well, I'm sorry, other than, I think we can move on this because you guys have already approved Reed with the specifications. I need, just as a point of information, to let you know that we are preparing an offer to proceed with Phase 2 with the contractor that was here to give us an update last time, Anthony Disco.
Did we complete phase 1? I
Yes, we
really can't
did.
tell.
Yeah, well, I mean, Phase 1 consisted of the treehouse, the sidewalk leading to the treehouse, and the movement of the sand and the dirt.
Okay, that's what that little
That's what
strange
that-
looking box is?
Right, and it will be more beautiful, but right now, don't let this weather fool you. It's going to get cold again. And so it's not in our interest to actually go ahead and pave and do all of that, and then it's all messed up. So we're moving into Phase 2, which is the inside of the pavilion. The pool is too expensive to renovate, so this was something that was in discussions with my predecessor, which is why she suggested a splash pad instead of the pool. The pool would be about $100,000 to $150,000 to renovate. That's our whole aquatics program right there. So the pool will be filled in, and we will put community gardens there. We will have an environmental classroom, so everything else is fine. And the pool house will no longer be renovated because there will be no need, but we would use that as a storage area. And we will have a splash pad, the basketball court, a renovated pavilion, and an environmental outdoor classroom, and a rain garden.
Are there any pools on the east side?
That we own?
No.
No.
Okay.
There will be 2 splash pads and the YWCA.
How do, and, you know, I'm a kind of outdoorsy guy, so, you know, I have some affinity for, environment, and I like the sound of rain garden and have we actually taken a look, though, at how our community uses its parks?
Yes, we have, and that's part of my my report today, is sort of the park inventory, because all the buzz is about this renaturing and how it's code for neglect. When really and truly, as you all know, we have parks in neighborhoods with no people.
Right, but that's not what I'm referring to. I think you and I are on the exact same page with that. What I'm talking about is, in my travels to different places, I've seen skateboard pads, parks turned into skateboard pads, and or pools that were renovated and turned into skateboard pads or roller skate pads or something like that. And in terms of how urban parks would function, we don't have a park that fits that
particular mode.
mold. And if we are shifting away from the pool, pools are, it may be expensive to repair, and they're absolutely expensive to maintain. But if we're going to eliminate the pool, I think more in terms of activity space than a rain garden. So with that, because that's phase 3 anyway, right?
Right.
Okay, so what we'll do is that I will entertain a motion that we would simply accept the scope of the work as it relates to phase 2,
Right.
which is about the interior
Interior of the pavilion.
of the pavilion, and then we will have some more discussion on.
Absolutely.
I'd like maybe even do some investigation on some of these other things, like a skating rink, a roller skating, ice skating. So in the summertime, it could be the outdoor roller skate rink, and in the wintertime, it could be the ice skating rink. And discuss that in terms of related cost or in a phase 3 mode.
Right.
So, and we'll have some personal discussion on that. We'll do some get some ideas and some numbers, and then perhaps have an executive session before we move forward with what phase 3 would be.
Okay, I do want to say that because we're in the process of master park planning, we are talking to the community, and the people that are on the committee, they are our ambassadors into the 6 districts of Gary, to help us gather that information about what people want. And so we're using YSB as a way to get information from the young people about what they want. Anything from, young people saying, and when I say young people, we're taking feedback from as young as 5 years old saying, we want 7 swings instead of 3 swings, because we feel like all of that is valuable. But yeah, we would, and in terms of an ice rink, we're looking at a Gateway Park as an opportunity to put an ice rink there, and also do a ball pit, which is something that I would like to share when we have the executive session.
Okay. With that,
I wanted to
go
also
ahead.
suggest if you look more into a biking pad, more biking lines or
You mean bike sharing?
I know they're doing that too. They're looking at that as well. But biking lanes. So I don't know if it's feasible to do that at Reed Park, but I think we do more biking and swimming
Right.
too. So that's an opportunity for
Right, so we do
you to
have
get more
Green Link,
exercise.
which is through Jackson Park.
Yes.
And so although we do have some, challenges to that, because it's just been discovered that there are some sinkholes there. So we're working with Gary Sanitary District to address that, because we don't want, we don't want that type of liability out there. But yeah, definitely, we will look at all of this, because Reed Park is a beautiful park. We'll look into that to see what could be community appropriate.
With that, I'll entertain a motion that we would approve phase 2 of the Reed Park renovation, which focuses on the pavilion and the pool house.
Second.
Roll call?
Commissioner Tommy Williams. Commissioner Renee Patterson.
Yes.
President Dwight Gardner.
Yes. Is there a timeline for the completion of phase 2? Or is this all about the total completion of the project?
That's total completion of the project,
Which
which
is
the park
to
is
the-
going to be open May 16th.
Okay.
but we're really ambitiously looking towards the end of April.
Okay. We didn't connect any kind of performance bond to this item.
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay. In the future, I think that needs to be discussed.
Performance bond.
Yes.
Did the vendors get paid on time for their work that they've done over there, and the architect for the park, the re-park?
Yes.
Okay.
Who was the architect on the park?
Rosalind Mitchell.
Okay.
Okay, that then takes us to superintendent's report.
Okay, I would like to, for my report, I would like to pass the park inventory out. And basically, this is just, oh, excuse me. And basically, this is a description of all 57 parks that we have in the city. So I made a remark at the city council meeting about the concept of renaturing some parks. There are strict sort of assessment and guidelines for that to even happen. And it basically means you allow a certain mass or anchorage of parkland to go back to its natural state, and you maintain it as such. And so it was in the newspaper, and we have a number of different people who would now like to participate. So now, according to the guidelines, we've been talking with Paul Leffner and Sandy O'Brien, environmentalists, Brenda Scott Henry, and based on those guidelines, only 7 parks presently out of the 57 are being currently considered. Now, before I go into specific parks, I would say that our next park meeting, stakeholders meeting, is March 9th, and I would encourage any and all people to attend that. I mean, even the general public, because we'll have Joe Van Dyke there to actually walk us through some of the things that we can actually do in-house in terms of the park master plan. I want to make this particular document certainly available to the community so they can see the park amenities, like what's in every park. Do we have a baseball field? Do we have, what do we have in each park? So I think it's a very informative document. So, you know, yeah, I won't address like the other things, but what I want to say about this particular document is it's informative. It lets people know what's presently functioning at the park, and it's fairly accurate. So we've gone through, walked through, and I just think it's something that people need to see, live with, so that they can come from an informed point of view as opposed to, you know, opinion based on nothing they've read or actually seen.
Do we have this available for the general public?
Yes.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, as it relates to the challenges that we have with our parks, we have a city that is half its size. We have entire communities where there are literally empty and abandoned houses.
Right.
The city of Gary is 56 square miles.
Mhm.
And according to the information you presented today, we have 57 parks. That's one park for every square mile in the city of Gary.
Right.
It is impossible to sustain that with half the population and one park for every square mile. Admittedly, some of these parks only include things like maybe a basketball court or a baseball field, but the fact of the matter is that we're going to get the most bang for our buck. If we're going to stretch the dollars at our disposal, in fact, to provide the citizens of this city parks that are clean and well kept, well serviced with programming, then there are some selections that have to be made. And so, again, with one park for every square mile in the city of Gary, that's just unsustainable. It's not possible with a population half our size. So, we will continue to do our due diligence to make the best decisions and select those places where we can really get value for our investment, and we're gonna continue to move forward.
All right, I received that. I do want to inform the board that we have moved ahead on the mitigation plan as it relates to Brunswick. And so this week, Thursday through Saturday, we're doing a departmental cleanup at Brunswick, cleaning the woods, getting rid of all of the litter, getting rid of the tires. We've counted about 10 tires that have sort of been discarded in the woods there. So that's an operation that needs to happen before Speedway comes in and does and clears the space, meaning that they will cut some of the woods down so that they can go ahead and implement the mitigation plan. So we actually get paid for that. So money comes into the department as a result of us lending some of our parkland for that.
Any questions? Any questions for Superintendent?
I think you're doing a great job, and you're moving forward. I do want to emphasize that the quality of the parks that we do have, if we can enhance the quality of what we do have, the pavilions, so that, of course, we don't have to get back any refunds, or we don't have to refund anybody any money, or, we have what we need, and everyone's excited about what we have. That's always important, to take care of what you do have well,
Right.
and then, move forward from there, because that'll increase revenue.
Well said.
I appreciate that. And now that you said refund, we do have, unfortunately, we do have a refund. I talked with the president about this, and this is something that has been sort of following us. And it was a wedding event. And I would just like to say that the reason I suggested a $1,000 refund is because we would like to repair relationships. So I asked that the Williams family be refunded $1,000 for their the experience that they deemed unpleasant at Marquette Park.
I'll take the check home for it. I'll give it to the rest of my family. No, it's not me.
Let me, I've kind of.
Monte and Jasmine Williams.
I've kind of rode herd on this particular
Yeah,
one. And let me say that, the direct issues were not Market Park management issues. They were from related sources, mostly related to catering. And we are moving and reconfiguring how we do business at Market Park, because here's an example of being left holding the bag for something for which we had no control over, and being held responsible for something that we don't have the authority to accomplish is a recipe for disaster. And so we are going to reimburse this family in good faith. That's my recommendation.
I make a motion we reimburse the family for the $1,000.
Is there a second?
Second.
Roll call?
Commissioner Tommy Williams?
Yes.
Commissioner Renee Patterson? President Dwight Gardner?
Yes.
And also like to just really thank the Parks team, specifically, just everyone, but specifically the managers, because they are sort of out there managing their respective staffs and everything. And I have required a great deal of energy and accountability, and so it's been a learning curve, but I want to publicly thank the managers of all the respective of areas, aquatics, Marquette, safety, groundskeeping, and speaking of groundskeeping, we're losing Will Green. His last day is Friday, but there is a transition in place of a very capable young man in Damon Ishman, and so I'm looking forward to sort of molding and guiding and mentoring this sort of the next generation of environmental stewards through Mr. Ishman. Want to also thank Tiffany Merrills for her leadership in getting this whole liquor license dealt with. It was interesting. My blood pressure was very high in the past 2 weeks. However, we work together as a team. We work together, in tandem. So I appreciate the support of the board because we never would have been able to accomplish that had it not been for you all's continued support and the leadership that was demonstrated by Ms. Merrill. So
Do we have a job description for Mr. Green?
yes, we do.
Okay, because I would like to see that, are we going to advertise this position, or are we looking to promote from within?
I look to promote from within.
Okay.
Mainly because I just think the type of atmosphere and the type of relationships that we've been able to build since September is important. And I'm very hesitant to allow anybody in my house, so to speak, to sort of detract from the synergy and the energy and the positiveness that we've built on. I think it's, and plus this young man is someone who has demonstrated from day one leadership qualities, and he has a work ethic beyond measure.
So has he shadowed Will Green?
Absolutely, the
Okay.
entire time.
Okay.
The entire time. And he is a Gary native who has played in these parks, and he has a certain pride that I just feel can't be duplicated from the outside.
So who's taking his job?
Are we going to personnel matters here?
Yeah, we can't do that here. I just wanted to let you all know what
If
was
that's the
happening.
direction you were looking
Okay.
in?
Right.
Okay,
Mhm.
and I don't have an issue with promoting from within.
Mhm.
I just want to make sure that we get the right guy for the job.
Absolutely.
Mr. Chairman, I
Yes,
would
sir.
make a comment. I've been coming to these meetings a long time. And when we come to the meetings, the general public sit out there and wait till we get finished. And then we allow them 2 minutes, and we don't make any response to what their concerns are.
Mhm.
I would like to see if we can make some kind of arrangement so we can include the general public and make some response to their concerns while they are there and while the board is here. And not just listen to them and then we walk away.
Well, I'll take that under advisement. However, that may be something that we'll discuss in an executive session, but I'll take that under advisement.
Okay.
Okay.
But I will say that I always let people know that my door is open figuratively and literally. I have an open door policy. You don't necessarily have to have an appointment to come see me. So the concerns that are aired here usually are just, I don't know if it's a reality show type of thing that
We
people.
will take it under advisement. Commissioner Williams made his recommendation, he brought forward a recommendation. It is taken under advisement.
Okay.
And is received,
Right.
and we'll discuss it at a later
Okay,
time.
all right.
All right.
Thank you, I appreciate that. I need that sometimes.
Administrative reports.
Okay, so I'll ask Tiffany Merrills to come up and give her report.
Let me ask you another thing about that.
Yes, sir.
When we come to these meetings and we get the recommendations from the superintendent, but it kind of wonders to me, and you want everybody to be inclusive, but then we get all these department reports, and I think that anything action comes basically from the action of the superintendent. I was wondering, could we begin to get the reports from the superintendent, and you supervise those people, and we don't have to go through all of these things all the time?
Oh, so you don't want to hear the reports
I didn't
of,
say that,
Oh,
I was
no.
making a comment.
oh, okay, so I don't understand the comment then.
Okay.
Well, what he was
No,
saying.
I'm trying to clarify. So what you're saying is you want me to summarize the report.
Now you got it.
Well, may I share why I have it the way?
Well, it's your-
Okay, yeah. So the reason I have it this way, because I believe leadership is about mentoring and empowering the people that you lead. And so I wanted them to have the opportunity in case that in the case that I'm absent for any reason, a conference or anything like that, that they'll be able to step their game up and answer any and all questions about any operations that happens in the park department. So that's one of the reasons I do that.
Let's continue.
Hey, let's continue. Ms. Merrills?
Good morning, Board.
Good morning.
So my report is a little brief. Right now at Marquette, we have no pressing concerns right now. We have no action items right now. I'm gonna jump to the bottom and then I'll come back to bids. I wanna say a huge thank you to Miss Dolly Harris. As you know, Dolly used to be my assistant, and she recently got a promotion, and McKinney stole her from me. But she just put on a wonderful event this past weekend at
Yes.
Marquette Park Pavilion. It's Heart Health Month, as you know. That's something that's very dear to myself personally. And so she put on a wonderful production in cooperation with Parks Department, Marquette, and her sorority.
Sigma Gamma
Sigma
Rho.
Gamma Rho.
Yeah.
And so we just want to say thank you to them for coming out. We had Zumba, we had yoga, Chef Cook that did a cooking demonstration on healthy meals. We had the vendors out, we did blood pressure checking and all of
Yeah.
that kind of great stuff.
Blood
So
pressure.
thank you, Dolly Harris. It was an amazing, amazing event, so we thank you.
Good
for
job,
that.
Dolly.
And then we also received a huge thank you from the MCC, the Miller Corporation, Citizens Corporation. They had their prom. They have not had the Miller Prom in 3 years. It started back in 1981. They brought it back, and it was a huge turnout. They were looking for 200. I think we had maybe 225 people.
And they wouldn't
And
leave.
it was packed. They wouldn't leave the mayor and party. And you know, the mayor, you leave usually in and out. And she said she was about 2 hours and danced, and we received a lot of thank yous and accolades from that. So it was a great event. So again, thank you just to my team over at Marquette Park. Again, to the wonderful superintendent, because again, that probably wouldn't have happened had we not had some due diligence. So we, you know, I thank you guys for that. I have a really, really amazing team and a great team in our Parks Department.
All right, let me do this. This is what I want you to do here as it relates to your recommendations on the bids.
Yes,
All of us have the written copy,
okay.
and so,
And we can't move on it anyway.
right.
I just wanted more so for your review, because.
That's fine. Okay, so we don't really have to cover it,
Okay,
okay? But we have it, we have your recommendations in front of us on that.
yes.
All right.
Okay, and that's pretty much all I have for Marquette right now. We're rolling. Any questions?
Good job, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
That's it. It's a short meeting.
No, you got the, excuse me, you have Nate Williams.
Oh, I'm sorry. Then we have a partial report from Nathaniel George. It's a financial report that he would like to share with the board.
Mr. George.
Okay.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
All right, so, just our balance sheet. There's one other thing, so we use RDS to get all of our numbers. This is the program of financial report, finance department use. The only thing that is not reflected in this report is the numbers from last year that were carried over. So, I think it was about approximately like a $2,700 surplus that was supposed to have been carried over from last year to this year. but it hadn't been reflected in RDS. So that's the only thing that is not reflected in these numbers. As you can see, we had a 23% increase in revenue compared to the same time last year.
Okay.
Can you tell us anything about the Hudson Campbell
Yes.
renovation?
I can. So we've had 2 meetings. One was actually yesterday. So the first meeting, we met with the architect, community development, and Powers and Sons.
And the
Mostly-
compliance officer, right?
Yes, thank you. Tammy Davis, compliance officer. So mostly what was talked about, I'm sure you'd be happy to hear this, because of your past position, Reverend Gardner. Talked a lot about the city ordinance for the hiring requirements, as far as it relates to city people having jobs, with the project. So they just went kind of line by line about what the requirements were as it relates to the city and also requirements for HUD. Actually, we've had 3 meetings. The second meeting kind of was the same thing, but this time we met with the project manager. The first time we met with Powers and Sons, and it was Mr. Claude Powers, and I forget the other gentleman's name. This time we met with the project manager and the compliance people specifically with Powers and Sons. And again, all those things were reiterated. Yesterday, we had a meeting, kind of a walkthrough / meeting with Powers and Sons and some of the subcontractors to discuss, kind of how they would do things as it relates to the construction. So what areas of the building would need to be closed off temporarily, how long. We didn't really get into specifics because we're coming back next week because they needed the contractors to kind of walk around, see what work needed to be done specifically, and then we would come back and kind of make a recommendation on what needed to be closed off and when. So that's where we left off. Still nothing is, I guess, memorialized. There was supposed to have been a contract that was going to Public Works last week. However, there was some language that needed to be added to the contract. So they didn't do it last week. They're targeting either next Wednesday or the Wednesday after next in order to get the contract signed by the Board of Public Works and then by Powers and Sons.
When is that next meeting that you were talking about?
Which one?
The one you just?
Oh, the design meeting?
The
He
meeting
sent
with
out
contractors and
a,
subs and all that.
he sent out a calendar invite yesterday. However, they're still working it out because the Ross can't make it. There's a scheduling conflict. So they're still working it out.
Madam Superintendent, would you arrange for me to be informed when that meeting is?
Yeah, it would be nice for me to be informed of that meeting, because I didn't get a calendar invite for that. So as soon as I correct the communication flow of this,
Right.
I will definitely inform you of it.
It was sent out by Mike from Powers and Sons. Again, they're still trying to figure out a day and time because Ross has a scheduling conflict.
Okay, so I'm meeting with the architect tomorrow. We're doing a walkthrough at Reed Park. So I'll be sure to handle this and make sure that you all are informed about all the meetings and moving forward.
Thank you.
And that will be it. I do want to take this opportunity to bring Ms. Pickford up so that she could tell us a little bit about what I understand to be an annual issue.
Superintendent and Commissioners, thank you for letting me come again. I have some papers for you.
This is about the sand, removal, right?
Yes, it
We don't need any more pictures.
You don't want any more pictures?
Well, I mean, she may
Okay.
I was actually over there yesterday.
Okay, well,
Recommendation and action on it.
The little pictures are what it looks like today. The big page is what it looked like last year.
Thank you.
It's not as bad.
No, and all we need is one good north wind, and it could be as bad as it was last year.
Oh, no.
but what we need is to have permission to push that sand back from the wall and to get a year's permission to do it because we do it again in the fall, so that keeps the sand from blowing in the parking lot, so we have less maintenance.
Any questions from board members?
I think last year we did it, and I think the recommendation would do the same thing.
Then I'll receive a motion that we would approve Ms. Pickford's request, and it'd be for the entire year.
Okay, thank you.
There a
So,
motion?
my 39th year coming, so.
Roll call?
Commissioner Tommy Williams, Commissioner Renee Patterson.
Yes.
President Dwight Gardner.
Yes. And Ms. Pickford, in the future, if you can just put together kind of a letter with the correct dating on it, so when we get to this point next year, you won't remember to come. If you send a letter.
We like to see Ms. Pickford.
Love to see Ms. Pickford. Again,
That's when we know summer's coming.
that is absolutely true. Ms. Tracy, again,
I don't mind coming.
okay, I understand that time is precious, but even in the future, if you just want to come and present a letter of request, and we will approve it. This is just something that we do, and it helps everybody.
Thank you very much. I
Thank
Thank you,
appreciate
we
it.
appreciate it.
Thank
Looking
you.
forward to a nice summer for all of us.
Yes.
Yes,
Yes.
indeed. Speaking of summer, just very briefly, just want to let people know that we are opening the beaches 2 weeks before Memorial Day. It's a soft open. We're going to have water safety demonstrations, and we're going to use that as an opportunity to run drills on worst-case scenario type things. So we're looking for the community to help us with that. So we need families to come and be a part of our drills. Our park safety manager and also our aquatics manager, they're working very hard to put something together, because traditionally, the weather is nice. So, I mean, but Mother Nature's fickle, so we don't know, but it's a soft open. And we're looking at that as an opportunity for our new concession stand person to give food out, and so we're going to use those 2 weeks to let people know about the increase in the fees of the parking, to inform them about the beach ordinances and all the rules and regulations, so that we can hopefully and prayerfully have a safe, positive event-filled summer.
Okay. Have we investigated if there were any companies interested in running the kayak launch in terms of rental of kayaks?
We're in partnership with Causes for Change,
Okay.
and so they have given us some information. And so we're attending a meeting, I believe, next week about that.
Okay, great.
About all of that.
Okay.
Because I do believe that there's going to be like some bike sharing in Miller, respectively. And so we're hoping that that's going to add to the festivities of Miller.
Okay. We have Mr. Jason Reeves. Is he still planning to speak, or you guys
So I think we're gonna have a meeting afterwards too.
okay? Mr. Reeves, why don't you, if you're gonna meet with the superintendent, why don't you just?
Right. But you know, my opinion of a couple of different things that you discussed in the meeting would consist of how to, maybe the coordination of parks. You talked about 57 parks. I can easily imagine there's 57 parks throughout the city of Gary. And the population has changed to the extent where these parks and the pavilions as well as swimming pools do require some maintenance, upgrading, and disciplines like that. In the city of Gary, we are slightly behind as it applies to some factors of engineering. I do some writing in terms of what's considered the Hearn Foundation, which is an endowment of business and engineering solutions. Also do design work. And that takes me to the other factor of what me and the director will more likely have a discussion with. There's about 130 conservancy districts throughout the state of Indiana. And what they try to do is keep the area dry. So you're trying to control water in terms of engineering, and as it applies to the park department, Indiana University, Chase Street, all the way over Clay Street is issues. But then on the same token, as you discuss parks and swimming pools and even baseball diamonds, we hope that young people can take advantage of it in a proper way. So coordinated, I hope you all can keep a mindful outlook that, yes, these assets are valuable to try to upgrade, maintain, and hopefully have people enjoy them, young people to older people. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Reed.
Mr. Nowak?
Yes, good morning, Commissioners. My name is Jim Nowak. I live in the 2nd District. I love parks, and I have a particular affection for Gary Parks. And I'm concerned about two directions that the park is taking that I'm not in favor of. One, we see trying to monetize our parks. As you know, the residents, taxpayers of Gary, already fund the parks over $1 million, expecting some basic services at our parks. So we are your biggest customer. You don't have to monetize the parks past that. We are your biggest customers. The other thing I'm very concerned with in regards to monetizing our parks is this direction we're taking, using the parks as a profit center for private businesses. We're seeing that at Brunswick Park. We're seeing that effort being made around the city. But the thing I'm most concerned with was about 4 years ago, and some of the directors may remember this because I brought it up to the board several times, is the city of Gary transferred 90 acres of Marquette Park. That's that $28 million park we have on the lake, a section of land from Gibson Street all the way to Grand Boulevard, from Indian Boundary all the way to the lakeshore, has been transferred from the city of Gary, the park department, to redevelopment. Now, as the board knows, once it's out of your control, you have no idea what's going to happen with that property. And citizens, city council, etc., have very little to influence that direction. We're having a meeting with Mr. Van Dyke in several of the districts. He's going to talk about this Mayako project. Now, you know, Mayor Daley and his cohorts have come to Gary. They have such an affection for the black residents of the city that they're going to help us. And the number one issue on their minds is what the city's going to do with that 90 acres of Marquette Park. Try to imagine after the city of Gary has spent $28 million remodeling that city, or that park, and we take great pride in that beautiful section of the lake, and with a stroke of a pen. Now, mind you, this deed that was transferred from the city to redevelopment has not been recorded yet. It's sitting on someone's desk. This is tens of millions of dollars of city property sitting in a deed on somebody's desk, and nobody from this board, not our superintendent, not our president, not any of the members, have gotten to the bottom of why the city has transferred 90 acres of prime lakefront property to the Redevelopment Commission. Now, even think about it. What does redevelopment mean? It doesn't mean leaving it as a park. If it meant leaving it as a park, it wouldn't be redevelopment. Redevelopment means redevelopment. So I'm going to urge the superintendent, if she can muster the courage, to ask the mayor what happened to that deed. I'm going to ask the president. Ask, if you can develop the courage, ask the mayor, where is that deed? And the board members, maybe you can tag along on one of these meetings. Find out why the city transferred 90 acres of Marquette Park to the Redevelopment Commission. And the deed has never been recorded. I was at the meeting where it was transferred. You know, we lost Glen Ryan Park because nobody knew anything about it. I mean, that was what we had at this meeting. Nobody knew anything about it. And we lost Glen Ryan Park. So I don't want any excuses from the superintendent or from any of the board members that we don't know anything about this. I'm telling you right now that we have to be concerned about this transfer of 90 acres of lakefront property from the city of Gary, the Gary Park Department, to the Redevelopment Commission. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, in conclusion, I want to thank everybody for coming. The fact of the matter is, as it relates to this property that is being discussed, it has never been deeded to the Gary Park Department, to my understanding. Any property that leaves the ownership of the Parks Department of the city of Gary must be voted on and approved in order for it to take place. So that has never happened. And if you listened, you talked about a wide area of property, over 90 acres, that does not of itself belong to the Parks Department of the city of Gary. It belonged to the city of Gary.
Okay.
And so that is an issue that's not even in our jurisdiction. Other than that, ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you for coming. I want to thank you for your time. And we are moving forward. With that, I entertain a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
Meeting is adjourned.
I'm gonna remove them.